Stop working in and on your business and start living above and beyond your business.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of the skill set and that leap of faith, that trusting yourself. But you have to learn the skill. You can't just wake up and manifest the skill.
I'm so happy you're here. Happiness Solved is the place where we explore everything you need to become the best possible version of you. This is Sandee Sgarlata, and today I've got some exciting news for our dedicated listeners. We've just launched our exclusive members-only portal. This is your ticket to a world of additional content designed to deepen your understanding and engagement with the Happiness Solved mission. To learn more about all of the exciting benefits, stay tuned until the end of the episode where I will explain in greater detail. For those interested now, head over to happinesssolved.supercast.com. Today is another amazing conversation, so let's get started. Lady Jen, I'm so excited this is the second time in 1 week we've been on a call together because I was on your amazing podcast earlier this week and now you're here on mine. It's so great to see you
I'm
again.
so excited. I really am. I'm so excited. I was telling my husband about it too. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I spoke to her and it took forever, I mean, not forever, but we were on the phone forever. And then we go, oh, well, we probably should have a podcast. And then we did one and now we're doing one. And then we're going to go have some cocktails together with our hubbies who both have the name Brian. How
I know.
exciting. Creating a great relationship. This is what it's all about. It's what
I
it's all
know.
about.
Well, it was so
Yeah.
funny because I met you on the marketers cruise and I was just sitting there next to Bill Walsh and he was getting a phone number from somebody that it was the same area code 703. And I go, wait. And he was like, oh, I'm with Lady Jen Du Plessis. And I was like, I just had not, our paths just hadn't crossed.
I know. That was
And we're
hilarious.
practically neighbors. I know.
Yeah, you have to go that far. You know what happened to us too? My daughter and I just went to Paris and we met up with a woman who lives in your town in Paris.
Wow.
We both were posting, hey, we're in Paris. She's like, we're in Paris, we're in Paris. Oh my gosh, let's hook up. And we had never physically met. It's crazy.
Wow.
I love this new world. Love this new
Right?
world.
Well, I have to tell you, probably 2006, I was in Atlantis with my son, and I'm walking up, and I had a hat on and glasses, and somebody goes, Sandee. And I turned around, and it was my high school best friend's older brother, who I hadn't seen in 20 years. And I'm like, what?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you just never know, like, who you're going to run into. So,
Yeah,
anyway.
I love it. So happy to be here.
Well, good. I am so happy you are here. So, for the audience, Lady Jen Du Plessis is affectionately known as the Impact Mentor and Scaling Architect. And I don't go through your whole bio, but I'm just going to do some highlights.
It's okay.
When you were in the mortgage industry, you funded over 1 billion in mortgage loans. Like that's
Yeah.
crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And you were always listed in the top 200 mortgage originators nationally. So I want to hear about your story because while we've had some very nice conversations, I really haven't heard your backstory other than I know you came from the mortgage industry and now you're just kicking butt in your space. And I'm just thrilled to and honored to have you on my show today.
Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Well, I come from humble beginnings, as most people say, right? I do. I do come from humble beginnings, and I want to tell you just a little bit about the story because it's what propelled me to do so well in mortgages and then be able to transfer that into every business that I own. And, I was one of 36 first cousins. I am one of 36 first cousins. I'm the seventh oldest. So it's pretty interesting. There's a lot of us out there and we're all over the place. And our uncles had nicknames for all of us. They're just, witty people. And they had these nicknames. We had Dan the Man and Gene the Machine, all these crazy names. But mine was Jenny who ain't got a penny. And I
Oh
didn't
my
quite
goodness.
understand other than, when it wasn't summer, I was in my shoe, I kept a penny. And every time they say it, I go, ha, 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 you couldn't catch me. I have a penny. Right. I didn't understand it. My dad was an alcoholic. My mom was a verbal abuser. And we were poor and we didn't have a lot. And we were always the black sheep of the family. Because, don't say anything wrong to her. She'll yell, he drinks too much, and they can't have anything. Don't invite them to things. So it's always just like left out. And to make matters worse, I was an only child until I was 12 and a half. So I didn't have anyone to cuddle in a room with, while mom and dad were screaming and fighting and beating each other up and whatever they're doing, right? I just didn't have that. But my uncle, and so I had a really bad event that happened, but I won't talk about it now. But I had a really bad event that happened that triggered me to say, I'm not going to be like them. I don't want to be. And it was also exasperated by the fact that my uncle said, Jenny, you're going to be just like them because that's how the world is. If they're alcoholics, you'll be an alcoholic. If they're poor, you're going to be poor. And the old way of thinking, because it was that way. If you're a farmer, you're going to be a farmer. It was just that old way of thinking. But this triggered event said, I'm done. I can't do this. I'm going to prove to you people that I can be so much more. And so I really just set out on this thing. I was runner-up Miss Colorado. I was at, there's so many things. I was pre-med. I was going to be a cardiologist. I ended up going into architectural design and construction engineering. Um, I was tennis champion. I was a cheerleader. I played flute and piccolo in the Colorado Springs Symphony when I was in high school. And I thought it was so cool because my orthopedic doctor played another instrument and I could just ask him questions. I mean, you name it, I succeeded in it because I had this life of proving. And so what I did is I moved that into business. And what did I do? I spent my entire career proving, mostly because I had this DNA in me, but also because I was in the financial services industry and one of the few women. I was a token woman in the mortgage business starting out in 1978.
Yeah.
And so that's my background. There's more to that story. I want to try to keep it quiet, but I did have another trigger that changed everything. And I said, I'm done proving and I'm going to start living. And that's when my business flew through the roof. And once I learned to crack the code on, so it's not just about working, it's about living too. I was able to create multiple businesses with multiple seven figures and have never stopped since. But now I have the proper priorities in place and I'm doing it for me.
Yeah, well, I can see how, and adults don't realize by putting labels or nicknames on people. And I can see how he thought it was cute, right? Because it rhymed. And they just didn't know back then how something what seemed nothing to him could really have a big impact. I mean, I can think of many examples.
And I was laughing with it too, In fact, I took the penny out of my shoe about 12 years ago.
Really?
I walked around with it because I wanted it as a reminder of where I came from. And then, have you ever walked around and you have a stone in your foot and you're like, I can't do it anymore. I've got to empty it out. And I finally just said, it's gone. Because it's not me anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. So where you are today is you work with high achieving corporations, sales professionals, leaders, entrepreneurs who are stuck at six figures that try to get to that seven. That's such a big jump. I mean, just to go from 100,000 to 200,000 is a big jump, but from 200,000 to a million, it can be a big jump. So what is the big thing that keeps people stuck from getting to that point?
Oh, I wish there was one thing. Unfortunately, there isn't, right? So the thing is, I have a mantra called, not called, but I have a couple of mantras, but one is mindset plus mechanics equals momentum. If you're stuck in the mechanics of it and you're, look, you were a great widget maker at your past company and you thought, I can have a better widget making company than this guy. And so you started your own widget making company and now you're still a widget maker. You're working more hours and you're making less money. You're certainly not happy, right? At all. And you're playing that game. That's one of the problems is you're mechanical. And I know this because I was climbing the corporate ladder, in the mortgage industry. And I was mechanical. I couldn't lead with my mindset because I don't want them to know that I'm a girl. Right. So I'll just keep it serious and business-like and wear a suit and, and never show that other side of me. And it wasn't until I realized, that wait a minute, I have to make a shift in myself that throws the ego off the shoulder, the invisible ego off my shoulder of, I built it. They need me to do it. No one can do it better. I'm the only one who knows how to do all this stuff. And realize that if I could build this world-class team, not just a team of people that I'll find a spot for you because you're really nice, but a real good, strong, world-class team, that it would allow me to flourish in the way that I wanted to flourish. And so I had to have that mindset shift. So what I mentor on today is stop working in and on your business and start living above and beyond your business. And that switch from in and on that caps you at 100,000, 75,000, 250,000, that cap is you not letting go so that you can grow. And so you've got to take a leap of faith, and it requires some skill sets that most owners of companies don't have. Most managers don't possess because their upline through attrition became the CEO, but no one's really had management and leadership skill training. And that's where I come in.
Okay. So when it comes to that, the leadership, if somebody goes from, say, the middle manager to the manager, and then the next thing you know, they become the leader, what is, and they don't have that mindset, like, what is the first thing? I know there's probably not just one.
Yeah.
But what is that big shift that needs to take place in their mentality? I just want to help the audience kind of get a grasp on that.
Yeah, I think, again, I'm going to go back to ego. I think a lot of this is ego, because people that step into management are typically, and in leadership roles, are typically the top performers in a company.
Right.
The best of the something. And hey, let's make you a manager. Let's send you out to pasture. And then what they do is that they teach everybody below them the way that they were taught, instead of learning leadership skills. Now, look, the difference between managers manage things and process and system. Leaders are visionaries. And a lot of times when people are climbing up their own little corporate ladder inside of their own company that they own, right? And they're going from a practitioner to starting to lead people, that first hire is really difficult because they don't have management skills. Then the second and third are even more difficult because they not only do they not have the management skills, but they don't have enough of a vision that rolls in their team members so that they can get on board to say, hey, where you're going is going to take me where I want to go too. So I think it's ego. It's, I can do it by myself. I don't need anybody. Yes, you do. You do. You can be fantastic with one client. But when you start getting 20 clients, the law of diminishing returns happen, and everything that you think you're excellent at, you start dropping off of, and it's time to hire someone else who's excellent at that, so that you can be above your business, be the heart of your business. And the beyond is, I don't know, do you want to sleep in? Do you want to travel? Do you want to have another business? Your beyond is your beyond. We just need to get you above the weeds so that you can be that visionary. So I still think it's ego. It's just white knuckling and holding on that I'm afraid, maybe it's fear. I'm afraid to let go so that I can grow, because I don't know how to do it. And that's really where I work with people on those leadership skills, expanding their team, amplifying their influence. They can attract people, and then leveling up their profits, their top line revenue.
Yeah. Thank you. That was greatly said. What I was thinking of is our mutual friend, Bill Walsh, teaches, learn it, do it, delegate it.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
And the delegation is hard.
Delegation. Yeah, it's ego, because I don't want to, it's my stuff, but it's also, I think more often, I know it started with ego for me because I already had the management experience. I thought, well, now wait a minute. I already know how to manage. I am managing and I am leading. Why am I not applying this? So there's an ego. But then once the ego's gone, well, how do I do it? Because I see people go, I'm going to hire a mini me. Oh God, no. We already have that problem. Right? Or I'm going to treat everybody the same. Oh God, no, because they're all at different levels of competency and commitment. And there's just so many things that need to be taught and practiced.
Yeah.
And then build the confidence to say, well, I can hire anybody I need to now because now I know who to hire, when to hire in the right seat. And it's the E-myth, right? Who to hire and what seat, but the problem becomes when. We all have this backwards. Speaking of Bill, right? You get into a room with Bill and it's like, well, you need this and this and this and this. And we go, I guess I do. I need all of it, but it's not sequentially in the right order. And so a lot of problems happen for businesses. Yeah, you need it, but not today.
Right.
And yes, you need that employee, but that's not the first one you need. Here's the one you need for your business right now. And so I help people dissect that. I do a lot of mind mapping. I'm a big
Oh, I
mind
love
mapper.
that. I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah. So the word that just kept popping in my head when you were explaining all that is trust.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you say to somebody that, yeah, they know they need to delegate it, and they hear, like, Jen, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I gotcha. They just can't. How can you work with somebody to help them overcome trust issues? Because I guess that's really kind of what it boils down to, right?
Well, it is.
Trusting that
Yeah.
somebody's going to do a good enough job that you would do.
Yes. Well, but you have to look in the mirror and see if you're still doing a really good job in that arena because you aren't. I mean, that's
Right.
one of the things.
Right.
Like, I can't find anybody who's as perfect as me. Well, you're not perfect anymore. You used to be. You could handle it all, but now it's not your thing. It's not
I
your
love
bailiwick.
that. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so hire someone who's 1 degree better than you and you're gonna, really fly. Trust is mindset. And that's why I say the difference going from in and on to above and beyond is it's a program I have called LEAP. It's a
Okay.
leap of faith,
Yeah.
right? That you trust in yourself, that you trust in your team, that you're not enabling them, where they all have to come to you for any decision or anything that happens. I mean, imagine if we all had to call Sam Walton and go, hey, somebody just walked into Walmart. Should I say hi to them or not? Should I give them a card or not? And that's what we do is we
Right.
don't empower people because we lack the skills to lead properly. And because of that, they're all of our little minion enablers, and we just can't. And it's I've even seen people say, "Just give it to me, I'll do it." And guess who gets to go home and be with their family?
Yeah.
So it's a combination of the skill set and that leap of faith, that trusting yourself. But you have to learn the skill. You can't just wake up and manifest the skill.
Right.
That's what's missing so much. So yeah, it's mindset, but it's definitely the mechanics of this too. You will learn to trust yourself think about sales. Everyone knows this, know, like, and trust,
Yep.
right? Once you know how to do it, once you realize you don't like to do it, you will trust someone else to do it,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
I know it's a sales manifestation, but that's what it is that you've got to know how to delegate, how to trust in yourself, how to put your systems together so that someone can come in and take it over right away. You need to up level your skill set as a manager and a leader to know how to interact with this person with this personality and that person with that personality and these different jobs. You just can't wake up and say, okay, I trust myself and I'm going to delegate because it's going to fall on flat. It's going to fall flat. You're going to get afraid and then you'll never do it again. And then guess what? You just have this job that is 80 hours a week that is just a groundhog year. Same thing every year.
Yeah.
And I was doing that and I had all the skills, but I didn't apply them because I lacked the mindset. So it's both. It's just both.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you have to have one. They can't be separate. You have to have
Yeah.
both. So I didn't realize that you are the host of your own TV show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me I can't. I love the name of that. It reaches over 350 million homes monthly and over 185 streaming media networks. That's really incredible. Tell me I can't. I love that.
Yeah.
I actually have
I
a t-shirt. I have a t-shirt that says underestimate me. That'll be fun.
Oh, I've got that same one.
You have that one too?
Yeah, I got that
Yeah.
same one. Underestimate me. That'll be great. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. I didn't call it Don't Tell Me I Can. I have a book of the same name called Tell Me I Can. It's a fiction book, and it's not a parable. Actually, we wrote it for Hallmark and for Lifetime, and we actually had someone doing a manuscript for it and the whole thing, and then I put the skids on it. I just didn't want to put that on my bullet list of things that I've done. I just didn't see where the benefit would be for me. But it's not Don't Tell Me I Can't, because that's confrontational. It's
Right.
the strength behind go ahead, tell me I can't, and watch what I
Yes.
do. And so I love bringing people onto the show that have been told that they can't do something for whatever reason. I had to tell me I can't. You can't do that because you're supposed to be poor. You can't do that because you're an alcoholic, right? So I say, go ahead, tell me I can, and watch what I will do. I'm going to show you what I can do. Unfortunately, in my life, I said, watch me prove it instead of watch me do it.
Yeah.
And I learned to change that vernacular, over time. But yeah, I love bringing people on. I have people that have physical, I have she's wonderful. Her name is Jessica Cox. She has a rare disease where she was born without arms. And this woman is incredible. She was told she can't do anything, right? Lots of things. But she's the only pilot in the world who flies with her feet.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so she's a pilot, right? She scuba dives. So she's a scuba diver. She plays softball. She surfs. All four things that I don't do, and I have arms.
Those are four
She's
things. Most of it I don't want to do, but I could.
right. I know. But it's crazy. And so here she is doing all these beautiful things. And we've had people that, have had emotional overcomings and stuff. This isn't for someone who said, well, my girl, I had a bunch of mean girls in school and they told me I couldn't make cheerleading and I made cheerleading. No, it's not that. This is more, it had such a profound effect that if I had the funds to do it and the bandwidth to do it, we would do a reenactment of the moment
Right.
that person said it and what you did next
Right.
and how it's changed your life. Because so many of us, when we're told we can't do something, believe what the external people tell us. And it becomes, you and I've talked about this, is that comparison is the thief of joy,
Yes.
right? The thief of happiness. And so we let external people tell us that we can't do something and we believe it. And it's only 3% of the world that says, get out of my way and watch me do. 97% of us say, I guess they're right. And so I wanted a show that would prove to people, there we go, proof again. But I wanted a show that would share with people that if they could do it, you can too. And all it takes is a different approach, a different perspective on what you just heard.
Yes. I love that. I was just having a conversation 2 days ago with my nephew who came in town. And it's so easy to get caught up in woe is me, right? Because you're having hard times and it's so easy. And I told him the story that I love to share. And that is, I was interviewing a quadriplegic and I said to her, I was like, you have to have days where you wake up and you're like, why me? Why me? Right? She goes, yeah, all the
Mm,
time. And I said, well, what do you do to snap out of that? She goes, I pick up the phone and I call a quadriplegic who's worse off than I am.
yeah.
And I'll
Yeah.
never forget that and that's what your show is all
Yeah.
about, right? I love
Yeah. It,
that.
Yeah, and it's, whether it's just that situation, that happened to me with my uncle, or whether it's, being born a different, although I thought you were going to go in a different direction, because I asked Jessica that same thing, is like, what, when you wake up in the morning, do you feel sorry for you? She always go, no, because this is the way I was born. And
Mm,
she said, so I don't look at it as a handicap at all. And actually, a friend of mine says they're not handicapped, they're handy capable.
right.
And I was like, oh, I love handy capable. And she said, I do everything based on what God gave me. You do everything based on what God gave you.
That's right.
I can open a can of soda with my feet and you can't because you didn't use that skill that God gave you. And she's that, so there's nothing different between us. So it's amazing. Yeah, it's, again, we can't compare ourselves to other people.
Right.
It's just, it's not good.
Right.
We have to let the outside stop penetrating our insides. It's so important.
Yeah. Yeah. And it does offer just such a great perspective, though. Such a great perspective. All
Yeah.
right.
Oh,
So
no.
you casually mentioned when I was on your show a couple of days ago that you have over 20 books. You said that you have,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So which one is your favorite that we can talk about today?
Yeah.
So we don't have time to talk about all of
Um,
them.
well, you know what? My favorite's always the one I'm working on, which I'm working on right now.
Okay,
So
perfect. Let's talk
the
about that.
favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know what the name of it is. I think it might be called Above and Beyond. I don't know. But I don't know. I'm writing a parable about a woman who owns a orchard, an apple orchard, and she has a lot of things that are dying. She's working in and on her orchard, right? And so everything keeps to dying. She waters one here and has to run there, and then this is broken, and then that, whatever. And then she meets a guy down the road, and in a parable who teaches her, becomes her mentor and says, and she said, why do you have it? Why do you have the comparison, right? How come you have all this, you're only down the road from me and everything in your place is fantastic. And he says, well, here's what I learned. Here's what I had to do for myself. Here's what I had to look at. I had to step back. I had to slow down so I could speed up instead of speeding up to slow down. And all the lessons that I teach my clients, and so that's what the parable is going to be. And then at the end, she's, beyond her business and doing whatever it is she wants to do. And I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm really excited about that because, I think we all progress. I mean, I hope we are, right? We're moving
Yeah.
forward every day, not backward. We're not standing still because now we're really moving backward if we're standing still these days. Um, and I think that, when I wrote my first book, Launch, How to Take Your Business to New Heights, it was a how-to book because people just, talk, 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 talk. But it's like, okay, well, now you need to know. We know what we need to do, but the how is the problem sometimes. And so when I wrote that, I was spitting nails writing it because someone said, you have to write it in order to be a speaker. And I'll say, fine, I'll write a cockamamie book. But then here I am, I've written forewords for books. I've been in chapter books. All of them have been number one. My own books have been number one. But I think that as I grow, I want to continue to share what I learn and give that back. And I believe in life, you learn, you earn, and then you return. And I'm in the
Mm,
phase where I'm still learning, but I'm returning and giving back so much more. It's part of the royal order, right? That, of giving back and the philanthropy that I do aside from the royal order that was part of why I was chosen to be in it. But I think that that's what I'm doing now is just giving back. And my podcast is called Success to Significance, right? Because it's everything in between too, is that you do have that point in your life where you're like, how can I give back? How can I help someone else who's banging their head against the wall, who's losing sleep at night, can't figure out why they can't get past that ceiling when I have the answer? It's right here. Instead of going through the heck that I went through to try to find the answer, and then the outcome that I had, which was so great, but why wouldn't I want to share that with everybody?
right. Right. Oh my gosh, I
That's
love
where
that.
I book.
I,
Yeah.
I love it. And you did mention that when you were talking with me. Now I remember you were talking about writing that. You mentioned the royal order,
Yeah.
Lady Jen Du Plessis. So can you talk about that and what that is? I knew that there was the Sir, but until I met you earlier this year, I didn't realize that there was a female version.
Yeah, the dames.
Or the
Yeah. So,
dames. Yeah.
yeah, so a man is knighted and becomes a sir, a woman is knighted and becomes a dame. And we have the option to go by dame or lady. My nickname, well, I'm called Dama by my grandkids. So they couldn't pronounce grandma. And I was playing with all kinds of fussy names, that all women do these days. And I was like, forget it, just call me grandma. And she couldn't say grandma. She said Dama. So that became my name. Well, my family, they're just little jokesters. They would start calling me Dame Dama. So I said, nah, I'm not going to go by Dame. I'll go by Lady. but and it fits my personality. It's a little more
Yeah, I think
whimsical.
so. I think so.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah. I mean, I was chosen. Someone had recognized all the philanthropy work that I do. My husband and I have a couple of charities. Plus, we work with a lot of charities. I do a lot of things for veterans, for women, for children, abused women. I consider myself to be somewhat of abused women because I was bullied by my mom. So I know what
Mm,
bullying is like, right?
yeah.
And I saw their abuse, but fortunately, I've been married 41 years. I don't have any problems there or anything. But
That's great.
and then animals, I'm really sensitive to animals and stuff. So I was doing all of this and doing it sort of all over the world, in Africa and Costa Rica and Belize and all that. So someone saw that, recognized it, recognized what I'm doing to make an impact in my business, to help others, live a beautiful life, the life that they always wanted to live, and was just approached and said, we'd like to talk to you about being part of the Royal Order. So I'm a family member of the Royal House of Cappadocia. And under that royal house, there are three royal orders. I'm in the order called the Order of Constantine the Great and Saint Helen. Constantine overcame Rome. And actually, that's where Christianity started. This order is the oldest order of knighthood in the world. We were established. We'd laugh about it and say that we're a 1700-year startup because we've been trying to start up for 1700 years, right? But we were established in 360 AD. And, it's just a great order. St. Helen was Constantine's mother, and she's credited with finding the cross of Jesus Christ. So she's a saint. And so all of the women are knighted under St. Helen, and all the men are under Constantine the Great. And our mission is to help women and children, homeless women and children, and trafficked girls. And so we've
Oh,
got
wow.
St. Helen homes around the world that we covet, and I shouldn't say covet, that's a bad word, we protect, and we're
Right.
guardianships for that. And that's our whole purpose. So I think there's less than I can't remember the number now, maybe less than maybe 1,200 of us in the world. So very big honor. Yeah.
And yeah, and I'm honored to not only know you, but I know Sir Kyer Redford, Sir Dr.
Yeah.
James Dentley.
Yep.
I
Me
know Mo
too.
Rock is going to
Yeah.
be knighted coming up. I
Yes,
think
he's nominated to be knighted.
is
Yeah,
who's
I think he's going to be
nominated.
knighted soon. James Dixon is going to be knighted coming up here soon. And Bill Walsh is also Sir.
Oh, Bill Walsh. I forgot about Bill.
Yeah, Bill Walsh. But there's some other really fascinating people that are. We have a lot of Olympians. We have
Yeah,
great doctors. Actually, Donald Trump is part of our order as well. He's one of the
really.
first ones. Yeah, it's just, I mean, political or not, it has nothing to do with it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
he's too. And yeah, it's just it's just a good collective of like-minded people that want to serve other people and are already serving other people in different worlds. So we're just pulling all that in together, and just helping as many people as we can.
That's incredible, especially the trafficking. That's a big thing
Oh,
right there.
yeah, we were just in Hawaii for investiture, which is the event that people do get. You could call it a knighting ceremony, but it's called an investiture. And we were just in Hawaii, and one of our dames has a safe house for girls that have been trafficked, and it was amazing. First of all, 11-year-old girl was there.
Wow.
And it goes up to 18, and after 18 they can't be there, but they're there for a year and a half or until they turn 18. But it was amazing to see the girls that had been there longer versus those that had just got into the home. They still look and act promiscuous. Um, yeah, they don't trust. They're very standoffish, and to see the progression that happens with these girls is just beautiful and so touching. And it just and it's amazing because all of these girls were trafficked from Oahu, and you think, how did they
Really?
get off the island? How does this happen, right? But it
Yeah.
happened. Happens all the time. And this is just one house that can hold only a certain amount of girls. There are so many girls that are in need of this. And now we have women who are in need of this. We just found out about a 56-year-old woman who was kidnapped and trafficked.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I've interviewed two people on my show so far that were trafficked, and both very different situations. And it's so mind-boggling to understand how that happens and that they
yeah.
were completely clueless.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are
Yeah.
telltale signs with some, and then just,
Yeah.
it just, and it's scary. Although like this 56-year-old woman, she was walking in the parking lot, just having come out of the grocery store, and she was grabbed. And so,
Not everybody. Go ahead.
yeah, no, it's okay. You never know.
Yeah. And I was just going to say that not everybody is kidnapped. Sometimes there's other situations and
Right.
that get you into it. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This has been
Yeah.
such an amazing conversation, Jen. Thank you so much for being on. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we wrap up today? We could talk
Well,
forever.
I know. Well, I have all kinds of things to share, but yeah, I always have my LEAP event going on. So if you have
Okay.
interest in that, I'll be happy to share the link for that. Because I always have the limp. Sorry, we don't want you to limp. We want you to leap. We want you to leap forward. Can you imagine someone having a program? Hi, I have the limp program. Okay, so we're gonna leap. We're gonna take that leap of faith. We're gonna move you on. But I'm always rotating that program, and we always go down to Acapulco. We do a 4-day intensive. Our next one's coming up in May. I'm so excited about it. And we just dig in, and everybody, shares ideas and things. And we practice and we play together. We just have so much fun. And so I'll give information about that. But I always leave my interviews with a quote that my mom used to say to me, although I don't know that she fully believed in it, but she said it. But this really ties in everything that I've talked about, and that it goes like this: we flatter those we scarcely know, we please the fleeting guests, but we always deal many a thoughtless blow to those we love the best, including ourselves. So I encourage you to be just as good to yourself as you are to your business.
Yes. Thank you so much. I will put that information in the show notes for everybody. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for listening today.
Thank you so much.
I hope you enjoyed today's conversation, and as promised, I'd like to give you more details of what you can expect as a member of the Happiness Solved exclusive community. First, you'll have access to a treasure trove of extra podcast episodes. These episodes dive deeper into the topics we discuss, featuring additional expert interviews only found here. But that's not all. As a member, you'll also get access to a series of mindset training sessions. These recordings are tailored to help you understand the how and why your mindset is the most important asset you have, empowering you to achieve your personal and professional goals. And for those of you looking to find a moment of peace in your busy lives, we've got something special: exclusive guided meditations. These sessions are crafted to help you relax, refocus, and recharge. Whether you're a meditation guru or just starting out, there's something here for everyone. Becoming a member is more than just accessing extra content. It's about joining a community of like-minded individuals, all on a journey to live life to its fullest and become the best possible version of you. So how can you join? It's simple. Go to happinesssolved.supercast.com and sign up. Don't miss out on this opportunity to deepen your journey with us. Again, that's happinesssolved.supercast.com, and it will also be in the show notes. I am so grateful you're a part of our Happiness Solved family, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your continued support. Again, I am so grateful for you, and I hope that you and your family are healthy and safe, and that your lives are filled with peace, joy, and happiness. Take care, everyone.